You lead people by inspiring them, by challenging them, by putting them in positions to succeed, and then helping and guide them to that success. And then making sure that they're aligned with that success emotionally and financially. As far as the employee trap, employees assuming that they're entitled just because they show up. How do you break through that? Well, guess what? It's the same trap the entrepreneur has. If you want employees to be giving it their best, giving it their all, and Gallup poll came out and said that basically 2/3 of the people are disengaged or actively disengaged in their last survey in the workforce. And that's really problematic if you're the business owner. But how do you bridge that? How do you make sure that you align your employees with the highest valued contribution in the organization and inspire them to give it everything they have? Well, if you've created a culture where employees feel like they're working hard, so they should just be rewarded, instead of creating a culture where they're aligned with the success of the organization and they're part of the organizational success and they need to reach above and beyond just showing up, making sure that you have a structure in place and you can create the natural filters in your organization for those that want to excel and those that want to grow, understand clearly and concisely how they need to do that, and not creating a culture where just because people are showing up, they feel entitled. And then the hierarchical trap. I had to hire a lot of managers and put them in charge. This was different than my previous business where I grew my leadership team over long periods of time. This was an attempt to go and find outsiders in all the different areas and functional areas of the business and bring them in and get them to work together cohesively and be culturally aligned with how you see and want the business to work. And it's really hard to hire one great executive and bring them into an organization. But when you have to go hire 3, 4, or 5 executives at different positions, get them to all work together culturally, operationally, and drive value in the organization, it's highly problematic. And unfortunately, for those employees that are trying to excel, it can create a trap for them. The hierarchy trap is problematic because sometimes people you put in charge of positions are a little bit afraid of the up-and-comers, the future leaders, and so they push down on them and oppress them, and then sometimes you lose your good people. So make sure if you have somebody in charge, they're aligned with the culture of the organization, they're aligned with the direction of the organization, and they're aligned with the inspiration of the founder or of the business owner. And making sure that you've done everything you can to tie in their personal, professional, financial goals with the organization, and that they understand their job in a hierarchical position is to find, inspire, and lead people to execute at the highest level, not to waste everyone's time trying to play power roles or power positions within the organization. And I see analysis or paralysis by analysis when you put too many hierarchical leaders in a room together and they're all pontificating or positioning for control and power. It really will kill your organization. And then the leadership trap, assuming you're the leader and others should follow. Look, the number one job of leaders is to inspire, develop, hold accountable team members to drive them to success organizationally. And the way you do that is by understanding what aligns with those individuals personally, professionally, and financially, and showing them how to accomplish that through the business. And when you're building really super fast and you're throwing a lot of people in the system, it's easy to forget that. And when you're hiring experienced people who come out of corporate positions, who got the jobs because they have a technical experience or they have a duration, they have time in a particular area and a certain level of experience in that area, doesn't necessarily translate to a synergized approach at developing team members and aligning them with the business. They carry in their old way of thinking, their old way of doing, and when the more of the hierarchical people you put in position, the more chaos you can actually create in your organization. So I'm going to talk about this. And then the follower trap, assuming you're the follower, so I'll wait for a leader. So in the context of an employee, the entitlement trap, just because you're paying me and I show up, you should pay me more and you should treat me well. Although I agree you should be treated well, I don't necessarily agree because you're just showing up, you should be paid or paid more. The follower, if you're an employee follower, what I learned through this experience is you have so much opportunity to excel. You know, some of our absolute best people in that system survive hierarchical leaders who I brought in and then had to get out of the system because they weren't actually complementing. They were more positioning themselves and managing the way they would want to manage without doing it in a way that's consistent with where I wanted the organization to go. So I'm the entrepreneur. I assume we're aligned. We're not aligned. Huge mistake. I'm bringing in experienced people who aren't inspired by the things I'm inspired by. And in some case, I was inspired by taking people who are in business for themselves and helping them significantly impact their business. Some of these people I brought in were more inspired to be the boss or to be in charge. And that was inconsistent with how I believe you lead people. You lead people by inspiring them, by challenging them, by putting them in positions to succeed and then helping and guide them to that success. And then making sure that they're aligned with that success emotionally and financially.